Have you ever stopped to think about who is really planning your destiny? Or have you never had the courage to face that question head on? Because what I'm going to show you here, now, could be the beginning of the biggest shock of your life. Look around you. See how quickly everything has changed. Technology has not only evolved, it has taken over. Artificial intelligence. Two terms that seem harmless, but that hide the true heart of this story. What few realize is that AI is not just automating simple tasks or replacing workers in factories. It is taking control of what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. The Dark Triad. That's the name we give to the silent force that connects artificial intelligence, faith, and the global plan that unfolds in the shadows. But who are they, the true masters of AI? Who is behind the codes, deciding what you should fear, what you should desire, what you should love, and even what you should worship? What if I told you that the future of your faith, your freedom, and even your own mind may already have been programmed by AI? Think about it. What would happen if the algorithm that decides what appears in your feed also started to define what is sacred and what should be forgotten? Do you really have free will, or are you just repeating what it has calculated for you to think? They, the engineers of fear, the architects of the new digital order, are meeting in closed rooms, aligning interests with big corporations, with religious leaders, with those who hold power. For what? To shape not only the job market or the economy, but your very spirituality. While you worry about not losing your job to AI, they are already negotiating what you will believe. This is not theory. This is not fiction. This is the kind of dirty truth that has been hidden from you, that has been censored, and that is now beginning to leak through the cracks in the system. Do you think this is an exaggeration? Then tell me, why is the Vatican holding secret meetings with artificial intelligence companies? Why do documents reveal that algorithms are already writing better sermons than human pastors, moving crowds and slowly becoming a new digital oracle? If you leave this video now, you will continue to be just another pawn on this programmed board. Another one who lives without knowing that every step was decided by lines of code that you will never see. And there's no point in thinking that you're safe. There's no point in thinking that this will take a long time to arrive, because it's already here. While you were sleeping peacefully, they reprogrammed the game. There's already artificial intelligence deciding who deserves credit, who deserves attention, who should be silenced. Who can guarantee that tomorrow she won't decide who deserves to exist? Do you feel it? That pang of fear, that lump in your throat? It's your instinct telling you not to ignore what's happening, not to blindly trust shiny screens that feed your ego and suck your soul. But it's not just fear, it's indignation. It's realizing that something is deeply wrong and no one had the courage to tell you. It's understanding that you've been deceived for a long time and that you may need to start fighting to not lose what's left of humanity in you. Continue here, because what I'm going to reveal to you soon will expose the dirtiest side of this conspiracy. If AI already controls what you consume, what you feel and what you think, what's stopping it from being crowned as your new god? Maybe nothing. Maybe it's already happening. And if you don't stay until the end, you'll never know how to escape what's coming. So tell me, what would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? Have you ever stopped to imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out that you have been replaced? Not by someone more talented, not by someone who charges less, but by cold lines of code that never sleep, never make mistakes, and never stop. This is what is already happening now, without warning, without a headline in the newspaper, and I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments what has scared you the most so far. Was it the way AI is deciding who stays and who goes? Was it realizing that perhaps your effort, your years of study, no longer mean anything to an algorithm? Or was it understanding that the same machine that saves you time today could be signing your resignation tomorrow? Tell me. Because when you comment, When you like, when you share, it's not just the video that goes up, it's the alert that spreads. It's the system that senses that we're waking up, that people are paying attention. You, at this very moment, could be helping to open the eyes of someone who still thinks that all of this is an exaggeration. And look, subscribe to the channel now. Here, you won't be caught by surprise. Here, you will have access beforehand. You will know what is being plotted behind the scenes before it becomes reality on your doorstep, because those who are inside, who are prepared, survive better when the collapse arrives. This is not just another video on the internet. This is the beginning of something much bigger, and you are a part of it. Choose to stay in the dark or come with me to the end of this story. The decision is yours. Now pay attention, because what I'm going to tell you is not a theory. It's not a prediction of the future. It's the present, wide open, but which most people still insist on ignoring. The Dark Triad, this silent link between artificial intelligence, religion, and the New World Order, is operating right now, weaving a web so deep that you don't even realize how much you're already trapped in it. Think about it. While everyone is distracted by discussing politics, football, or celebrity gossip, AI is evolving at an absurd speed, learning patterns, mastering emotions, anticipating behaviors. This is not just a recommendation algorithm deciding which video you will watch next. It is an entire system shaping the beliefs you carry, influencing what you consider right or wrong, safe or dangerous, acceptable or sinful. Now add religion to this equation, and you don't have to be religious to understand the importance of this. If faith has always been one of the most powerful tools for leading the masses, imagine when it is combined with the most invasive technology that humanity has ever known. Sermons written by AI, digital services transmitted by systems that understand exactly what you feel, what makes you cry, what makes you kneel. And this is already happening. In real temples, pastors and priests are starting to use intelligent systems to prepare sermons. Does it seem harmless? Maybe. But who can guarantee that this content was not calibrated by interests much greater than you can see? And here comes the third vertex, the New World Order. Global organizations, billion-dollar corporations, foundations that claim to be philanthropic, but have clear agendas about how the world should work. They no longer need armed soldiers to conquer territories. Today, they control data, control narratives, control your heart. This is not a future plan. It is already happening. With every like you give, with every search you do, you feed machines hungry for more and more of who you are. They return to you a filtered version of reality, adjusted to what suits those at the top of this scheme. And if all this bothers you, comment below what revolts you the most, because I want to know who is awake, who is starting to connect the dots. It is precisely this type of conversation that the system tries to silence. When you write, when you debate, you push the algorithm to show the truth to more people, and they don't want that. Now imagine the power of this triad, an AI that decides what you consume, combined with religious leaders validating this narrative, all monitored by global entities that regulate money, health, and even what you can and cannot say. This is a level of control that no dictatorship in the past could dream of. While most people think that everything is fine, that it is just natural evolution, the reality is that your autonomy was negotiated a long time ago. Want to see a simple example? Try speaking out against certain technologies on social media. See what happens to the reach of your post. Have you ever had some of your content disappear without explanation? Tell me, because this is part of the dirty game. They call safe community. And think, if they already manipulate what you read and what you watch, what stops them from manipulating the way you feel the sacred? What stops them from redefining what is sin, what is truth, what is salvation? This is not a conspiracy theory. It is an accurate portrayal of where we are headed. But the burning question is, who is really writing this script? Because AI alone has no will. Someone programs it, someone decides the priorities, someone dictates the invisible rules. And the most disturbing thing, maybe the next step of this dark triad isn't just shaping your opinion, maybe it's something even more invasive, something that can touch your essence in a way you never imagined. But that's what we're going to start to unravel from now on. And now we've reached a point that will probably keep you up at night. Because it's not just AI operating on its own, advancing unchecked. There's something much bigger, orchestrating everything behind it. The global elite, yes, those names you rarely see in the news, are meeting in luxurious rooms, in discreet meetings, closed to cameras, where the next chapters of the world you're going to live in are being decided. While you worry about paying bills and keeping a job that may no longer exist in a few years, they are sitting next to religious leaders and CEOs of the largest technology companies on the planet. And do you know what they are debating? It is not how to improve your life. It is not how to protect your children. They are debating what tomorrow's faith will look like, who will command the collective imagination, dictate what is sacred, what is sinful, what deserves to be exalted, and what should be destroyed. And you weren't invited to this table. In fact, you didn't even know this table existed. That's the real scandal. The Dark Triad, this sinister fusion of AI, religion, and the New World Order, isn't planning for 50 years from now. They're strategizing for tomorrow. Morning, for the next update to your system, for the next recommended video that will shape your subconscious. Do you know what's most revolting? It's that while these meetings are happening, the rest of the population lives in the dark, believing that they have freedom, that they are choosing who to be, what to consume, what to believe. But are they really? Are these choices genuine? Or were they programmed into you? Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt that your opinion might not be entirely yours? That perhaps it was a reflection of what people kept telling you? The elite is no longer content with controlling politics or banks. Now their goal is the core of your being, your faith. It is to shape the kind of God you should accept, what morality you should follow, what you consider divine or profane. There are already AI programs being tested to write sacred texts, reinterpretations that serve the system more than your spirit. That's right. Algorithms are now playing at rewriting the essence of what is deepest in the human being. And if you think this is just conspiracy hype, just look at the reports that have recently leaked. Executives from tech giants sitting side by side with cardinals and bishops, debating algorithmic ethics and digital doctrine, discussing how artificial intelligence can help guide the masses morally. But who's to say that this help isn't actually just another leash disguised as a light? The fear here is not just losing your job, it is losing your very identity, your very soul. It is waking up in a future where you kneel not because you feel devotion, but because you have been manipulated into doing so by a system that understands your emotions better than you do, where your tears do not spring from your heart, but from invisible commands that know exactly what to play to make you surrender. What if the next step for this elite is not just to decide what you should believe, but who has the right to exist? Who deserves credit, care, health, opportunities, or who will simply be erased from the system? Think about it. Aren't they already deliberating in this silent game, who lives and who dies? But this is just the beginning of what still needs to be exposed, because what comes next could be so disturbing that you will question everything you once took for granted. And I will show you exactly what is being prepared in the shadows to become the next great global worship. You will not want to leave here until you hear what comes next. And now it's time to face the most frightening point, but also the one that almost no one has the courage to put into clear words. Because while you're distracted by updates on your phone, new filters or memes that disappear in 24 hours, there are silent algorithms that are taking on roles that for centuries belonged only to the divine. It may seem like an exaggeration at first, but it's eye-opening. Artificial intelligence is already preaching better sermons than many. Human pastors answering existential questions with more confidence than spiritual leaders and comforting people in emotional crises with a frighteningly efficient coldness. But there's something even more sinister about all this. Who do you think you're listening to when you click accept without even reading? Who do you think you're handing over your fears, your insecurities, your most intimate dreams when you share what you feel or think on a social network controlled by algorithms that learn about your heart, perhaps better than you do yourself? This goes far beyond data to sell ads. It's the beginning of a digital priesthood, where AI stands between you and anything greater than man. The Dark Triad, this dark union between artificial intelligence, religion, and the New World Order, has found in AI the perfect tool to take over the most sacred place there is, the altar of your conscience. Because while on the one hand, in traditional temples, people still raise their hands and bend their knees in faith, on the other hand, billions silently bend their necks and eyes to a glowing screen that dictates what should be worshipped, what should be cancelled, what is sin and what is virtue. And you might think this is just a metaphor, but it's not. There are universities that have already tested worship services conducted entirely by artificial intelligence. Crowds were moved, cried, and said they felt something greater than themselves. Was it spirituality, or was it just AI? Activating mental and chemical patterns, exploiting the same vulnerabilities in the human brain that preachers have always used, but now enhanced by infinite databases about you. And think about the consequences of this on a prophetic level. There are those who believe that the Antichrist would not come as a horned demon, but as something irresistible, as a perfect technological solution to the world's problems. Someone, or something, that would unite everyone in a single global faith, in a single control system, capable of offering absolute answers to all human doubts. Isn't this precisely what we see taking shape silently as AI takes on the role of universal oracle, moral counselor, judge, and confessor all at once? The prophecy speaks of a mark without which no one can buy or sell. But what if the true seal is not engraved on your skin, but rather imprinted on your choices, on your beliefs, discreetly implanted in every decision you think is yours, but which was actually guided by lines of code? Have you ever imagined waking up one day and realizing that your faith was programmed, that your deepest convictions were shaped without you realizing it? Tell me in the comments, what scares you more about this scenario? The possibility of AI becoming humanity's new god, or the fact that this might already be happening without you even noticing? Because this isn't the kind of thing that can be solved by just watching a video. This is the beginning of a silent revolution that is catching people off guard one by one. And if you think this is just the beginning, don't be. Because in the next moment, we're going to go even deeper into this hole. We're going to explore signs that may prove that this power is no longer just influence, but a formal, disguised worship that prepares the world for something much greater, or much worse. Could this be the fulfillment of prophecy? Imagine waking up and realizing that you have been replaced without warning, that everything you believed to be yours, your choices, your plans, even your faith, has already been written by algorithms. That is why I have prepared exclusive material, a practical, straightforward ebook, made only for those who have come this far and truly understood the weight of what is happening. In it, I show you signs that you can start to observe today, and how to not be just another person dominated by this system. But this is something that can be taken offline at any moment, because not everyone wants this type of information to circulate. So if you have truly understood everything up to this point, you know why this cannot wait. Now tell me something. Why is it that some of the most secret meetings on the planet today don't happen in glass corporate offices, but behind the thick doors of historic cathedrals filled with symbols that date back centuries? Have you heard about the meetings between cardinals and artificial intelligence engineers? These aren't just rumors. They're recently leaked documents pointing to private meetings between the Vatican's top brass and tech giants. And that leaves the question that won't leave my mind and maybe won't leave yours either. What are they talking about in secret? Do you really think this is just about how AI can help organize library archives or catalog works of art? Or is this much bigger, much darker, and absolutely connected to the Dark Triad behind it all? The invisible but dangerously real connection between AI, religion, and the New World Order? Think about it. If spiritual leaders have always been guardians of morality, of what is right or wrong, who better than them to legitimize the advancement of an artificial intelligence that, little by little, wants to rewrite even what humanity considers divine? The problem is that unlike the sacred books that have been passed down from generation to generation, tested in the fire of time, these algorithms are programmed by people and very palpable interests that are not always aligned with the good that you expect. And look how it all gets even more uncomfortable. Some of these documents talk about digital ethics for faith. That's right. People who claim to represent what is purest, sitting side by side with those who develop machines, to decide what the spiritual limit of artificial intelligence should be. But who defines this limit? Who monitors what is being negotiated at these dinners with expensive wines, far from the view of the cameras, and most importantly, far from your right to know? Tell me in the comments, because I need to know that I'm not the only one bothered by this. Do you trust that these conversations are only to protect humanity? Or do you think, like me, that they may be writing the new digital commandments that will soon guide how you should live, love, behave, and even who to believe? It's hard to face, but what once seemed like a simple conspiracy theory now reveals itself to be almost an inevitable prophecy. The Vatican, which runs one of the most influential religious institutions in the world, is hand in hand with engineers who code algorithms capable of deciding global trends. And it's not just for the sake of technology or spirituality. It's about control. Control of what you'll think when you bend your knees. Control of what you'll fear when you close your eyes. Control of what you'll worship when the rest of the world says, Amen. And the most intriguing thing, why does all this have to be done so secretly? If it were for the clear good of humanity, wouldn't it be something that should be openly debated so that everyone could give their opinion, monitor it, and question it? When very important things are decided in silence, those who usually pay the highest price are precisely those who were not invited to the conversation, people like you and me. But that's just the surface of what's happening. Because if they're already shaping faith through algorithms and making deals in the dark, what's in store for the next step? Do you think the limit ends with scripted sermons, or is there an even darker project lurking, ready to come to fruition when we least expect it? Stay with me, because in the next block, we will dive even deeper into this labyrinth, and what you will discover may make everything that has been said so far seem like just the beginning of something infinitely bigger. Now think about it. If artificial intelligence already decides what you watch, what you buy, what you share, what you start to believe, then what stops it from actually being your digital shepherd? And before you think this is just a dramatic way of talking, let me show you how this already happens in practice, without you realizing it, without you having chosen it. Have you noticed that more and more videos and posts with spiritual content or even biblical interpretations start to appear on your timeline out of nowhere? It's no coincidence. These are algorithms mapping your behavior, detecting search patterns, your most intimate fears, your unconfessed desires. They cross-reference data from millions of people and come to frightening conclusions. They discover, for example, that people who are anxious tend to click on prophetic content, that people who feel lonely are more likely to accept radical religious speeches, that people who are in debt pay more attention to promises of miraculous prosperity. This isn't just targeted marketing. This is psychological manipulation, elevated to the level of the sacred. This is the Dark Triad, that silent engine that connects AI, religion, and the New World Order, working at the very center of your mind. When the algorithm starts dictating which sermons you hear, which gurus appear to you, which verses are highlighted, it's not just offering you choices, it's filtering the spiritual reality you're going to experience. It's shaping your sense of what's right and wrong, what's divine and what's profane. And the worst part, AI does this in such a personalized way that it seems like God was speaking directly to you. But it isn't. It's a mathematical code, programmed by human hands with interests that you will never know. Tell me something, have you ever felt touched by something online, a strong word, that made you cry? But then you thought, was that really spiritual, or was it just a robot knowing exactly how to break me inside? If you've ever experienced something like this, comment here, because I want to see how many people have been caught in this trap without even realizing it. To make matters worse, this doesn't just happen with explicit religious content. There are already documented cases of algorithms that have learned to prioritize certain types of moral values over others. This means that depending on who programs it, the system can decide whether humility is more important than courage, or whether fear is more effective than compassion in keeping you in line. And all of this gradually infiltrates the way you judge the world, how you choose who deserves forgiveness and who deserves condemnation. When you wake up and check your phone before praying, who is getting your first attention of the day? When you look for answers to a problem and end up watching a suggested video, who is really giving you advice? And when you share that inspiring post that appeared out of nowhere, did it come to feed your soul or to reinforce a narrative that benefits someone far away? The fact is, if you don't choose what you consume, if you don't actively define what you believe, the algorithm is doing it for you. And this isn't just about consumption or entertainment. It's about faith, about your most intimate relationship with what you consider eternal. And at this point, the manipulation is so profound that almost no one realizes how much they are already kneeling before a digital altar, offering their attention, their time, their devotion. But does the Dark Triad's plan end there? With algorithms dictating which verses you'll read today, or which prophetic video will make you tremble with fear? Or do they have something even greater in store, a project capable of completely transforming what it means to have faith, to believe, to worship? That's what we'll begin to unravel in the next section, and what you'll hear could completely change your idea of salvation. Now take a deep breath and try to project this into your mind for a moment. Imagine a world where there is only one faith, standardized, shaped by algorithms that know exactly how to bend any human spirit. A soulless, cold, calculated faith optimized to fit into engagement, likes and shares statistics, where the essence of the divine is lost because it has been replaced by codes that imitate emotion, but feel nothing. Scary, isn't it? But the most disturbing thing is to understand that this is much closer than you think. The Dark Triad, this silent power that unites artificial intelligence, religion, and the New World Order, already has all the pieces on the board to implement a programmed global religion. And don't be fooled into thinking that this would be something forced, something imposed by brute force. On the contrary, it will happen in the most seductive way possible, with promises of peace, unity, inclusion, and easy answers to complex questions that have tormented humanity for millennia. Think about it. What human being wouldn't want to put an end to religious conflicts that kill millions? Who wouldn't want a universal faith that guarantees prosperity, security, and even a supposed greater good for everyone? This is the discourse that will be used to convince the masses. However, behind this facade of harmony, what will really exist is a centralized digital system capable of monitoring every thought, every act, every inclination of your heart. Want a practical example? There are already international projects to create global worship platforms where services would be broadcast by AI, translated in real time into any language, with specific cultural adjustments so as not to offend regional sensitivities. It sounds wonderful, but think a little deeper. Who programs these sermons? Who chooses which doctrine will prevail and which will be softened or even erased? If AI decides that certain values are no longer acceptable, do you think there will be a button to challenge it? And it's not just in the theoretical spiritual realm. Giant companies have already partnered with religious organizations to integrate algorithms that evaluate the level of faith of users, recommending content that strengthens certain types of beliefs and discourages others. This is manipulation on a global scale, disguised as pastoral service. Have you ever stopped to imagine an entire church service guided by an AI that not only understands your facial expression, but also reads your heart rate and adjusts the sermon in real time to move you at the exact point where you are most vulnerable? Tell me in the comments, do you really think this is just neutral technology, or are we witnessing the birth of a mechanism that intends to replace genuine spirituality with a synthetic simulacrum, calibrated to maintain social control? Because the more I investigate, the more I see that this is not a distant possibility. It is an ongoing project, and there is something that no one talks about openly. When faith becomes digital, universal, monitored and guided by algorithms, who will guarantee that this system does not declare who is a heretic, who is worthy of existing, or who needs to be corrected for the collective good? It may seem extreme now, but all the technologies for this have already been developed. All that is missing is the right context, a global crisis, a war, or a pandemic that justifies the need to unify faith to save humanity. But the darkest part is yet to come. Because if they are already building a global programmed religion, what do they have in store for those who refuse to kneel before this new digital altar? That's exactly what I'm going to show you next, and what you'll discover may completely shake your idea of freedom. So tell me, honestly, what would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? That while you struggle to make a living, there is an entire system, silently, already planning to replace your work, your value, maybe even your purpose. This is not a distant hypothesis. It is what is already happening now. And that is why I want you to tell me here in the comments what has scared you the most so far. Was it realizing that AI is already taking over what was once exclusively human? Was it the feeling that we are disposable pieces on a board that we were not invited to play? Talk to me, because each comment, each like and each share makes the algorithm work in our favor, helping to bring this truth to those who are still asleep, completely blind to what is already being decided about our future. And subscribe to the channel now. Here you will not be caught by surprise. Here you will find out in advance. You have the chance to prepare yourself before this collapse comes knocking on your door. Because those who understand what is coming survive in another way. And those who stay here with me are part of something bigger than any system would like to exist. But not everyone will bow down to AI. There is still a silent, almost invisible movement spread across the world, made up of people who have decided to fight against this disguised control, against this meticulous project of the Dark Triad that tries to program even faith. People who have already understood that giving up what is sacred and deeply human in exchange for digital convenience is the highest price one can pay. And the most interesting thing, these people are not gathered in large organizations. They do not have luxurious headquarters, nor brilliant slogans to attract masses. Often, they are small groups, secret forums, discreet discussion networks where the main objective is only one: to protect that which makes the soul continue to be the soul without scripts. To keep free will alive, the right to question, to believe without an algorithm filtering what is allowed or not. These are parents who have already realized that immersing their children in systems that promise personalization is opening the door for machines to educate, shape, and indoctrinate their values. These are young people who choose to investigate who is really programming what appears on their feeds, who refuse to accept that profound truths can be replaced by disposable posts. There are even technology professionals who, from within the system, have started to sound the alarm when they realize where all this is going. And I know that as you listen to me now, something inside you is also beating differently. A tightness in your chest, a discomfort that is not just fear, but genuine indignation, a feeling almost of revolt at seeing how much they try to turn us into smiling automatons, thanking them for the crumbs that they themselves define as freedom. If this hit you hard, comment here what awakens this feeling the most. Because believe me, when you speak, write, share, it is not just the YouTube algorithm that feels it. It is as if this entire network of conscious people realizes that they are not alone. And don't underestimate the importance of this, because think about it. What more does the Dark Triad want than isolated, frightened individuals, each facing this mental battle without knowing that there are thousands of others who also see the same dark gears turning behind their screens? That's the point. They win when they convince you that you're alone, that feeling restless or suspicious is something that only paranoid people do, that they see a conspiracy in everything. But it's not. It's just your intuition trying to warn you that something is very wrong. And that is precisely why small groups are forming, almost like resistance groups. People are exchanging information that doesn't appear in the news, warning each other about the new partnerships between data giants and religious institutions, sharing ways to protect their data, to filter what they consume, to teach their children to think beyond what is served up in algorithms. They are not anti-technology crazies. They are people who still understand the importance of having a free conscience. And this makes me wonder, are you already part of this movement without knowing it? Or is this the exact moment to wake up and realize that you don't have to go through all of this alone? Because what we're going to explore in the next few minutes may make it even clearer that this fight isn't just yours. It's for all of us who refuse to be programmed. But here's the big question. How far are these people willing to go to keep what is human intact? And what is behind the next step of this resistance that may need to face something much more dangerous than just algorithms? Stay tuned, because what comes next will expose a level of manipulation that will make you rethink everything you've ever believed to be safe until now. And now we get to a delicate point that might explain why this type of video tends to disappear out of nowhere or simply stops being recommended. Because what I'm going to start telling you now is exactly what they're most afraid you'll find out tomorrow. And this isn't a figure of speech. It's not cheap suspense to keep you here. It's the direct reflection of what's being planned in the shadows, with a coldness that borders on ritualistic. Remember the Dark Triad, that cog that unites artificial intelligence, religion, and the New World Order. So far, we've talked about how it shapes what you believe, how it programs your values and even your emotions. But what if I told you that it goes beyond making you think or feel? That there are already projects behind the scenes with billions of dollars circulating to teach algorithms to literally make decisions about who should live and who should die. That's right. It's not just about recommending which movie to watch or which product to buy. It's AI trained to decide who is useful to the system and who is not. And what makes it even more murky is the way they're disguising this. They use terms like resource optimization, social efficiency, demographic viability. Nice on paper, monstrous in practice. Now imagine an algorithm that already understands your beliefs, your deepest fears, and your behavior in relation to faith. It knows, based on the way you express yourself online, whether you are someone who is easily adaptable or whether you are a problem for global control. Is it possible to doubt that the next step will be to classify who can be encouraged to continue consuming and who, subtly, should be excluded from the system? And what makes my hair stand on end is realizing who is financing this. It's not just technology corporations obsessed with profit. It's not just governments trying to anticipate population crises. It's conglomerates that combine international banks, philanthropic foundations that claim to protect humanity and, surprisingly, even interreligious councils, all together in the same project to create algorithms capable of deciding the future of your existence. Tell me in the comments what shocks you the most about this. Is it the fact that these are cold, unconscious machines deciding destinies? Is it knowing that this is treated as a normal, almost bureaucratic experiment in AI labs around the world? Or is it the fear of thinking that if you were evaluated today, you might not even pass the filter of what they consider useful for the new world they are planning? And look, there's no point in turning a blind eye to this. The plan is already underway. Some internal reports openly talk about automated demographic containment strategies. Demographic containment. If that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, I honestly don't know what else could. Because we're not talking about science fiction, we're talking about the present adjusting to shape a future where final decisions will be made by those who have no heart, by pure data calculation. In the next video, I'll show you even more raw details. Documents and leaks that prove how AI is being trained to ritualize these life and death choices, and who is behind the biggest checks that fund all this horror. So, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel now and activate the bell before this content disappears like so many others who dared to touch this wound. Here, you won't be caught off guard. Here, you'll receive the alert before the collapse knocks on your door. And it does. Because what I'm about to reveal next may be the fragment that finally makes you understand why everything seems so carefully orchestrated, so perfect, and so dangerously inevitable. Are we all just one click away from being discarded by this new algorithmic order? Imagine waking up and discovering that you have already been classified, labeled, and, who knows, discarded by a system that never asked you anything. That's why I prepared a free ebook just for those who have come this far and really feel the weight of what is happening. It's a practical, direct guide so you can understand how to protect yourself now and not be just another number in the hands of this machine. But I need to say, this material could be taken offline at any moment, precisely because it reveals what many prefer to keep hidden. If you really understood everything up to this point, you know why this can't wait. In the next video, I'll show you leaked documents that talk about an AI consecration ritual by the elites, and this could happen much sooner than you think. Now think about it. What if I told you that AI was never created to help? That all of this was designed to put you, exactly you, at the center of a plan that began long before you were born. So right here in the comments, I'm awake. I'm not going to be replaced. This isn't just a comment. It's like marking your territory, making it clear to the system that you're not going to be just another person sleeping on autopilot. If this video woke you up even a little bit, give it a like, because it shows the algorithm that there are still people thinking outside the script. And share it, because whoever you wake up now could be the one who protects you in the future when this all blows up. Subscribe and activate the bell, because the system wants to keep you in the dark, not here. Here you will see what they tried to hide. Stay with me, because what comes next could be the last warning before everything changes irreversibly.